You ready?
Yep.
All right, welcome to another week of Token. I am Donna. This is Steven. And Steven, what is Token all about? Give us the log line. Give it to us now.
Two token Negroes. Are we tokens? Two token Negroes.
I mean, I guess we're Token. If as we consider
Depending on where we're at.
the rooms we've been in, I've been Token. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, depending on what room we're in. Yeah.
Two Token Negroes, depending on what room we're in.
Exploring the other token Negroes in film and television.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so we're gonna jump into it. This week is gonna be a little bit different. Last week we talked about what was it? Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And so we thought the only thing to do next would be to follow up on the pilot, focusing on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So today it's going to be like our take on it. So give us a quick summary of the episode, a quick one, because we're probably going to get into it. It was about 50 minutes long.
Yeah. The episode takes us with meeting Falcon and seeing what his day-to-day life is like now after the events of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, which are the big movies. So we see what it's like now that Captain America is dead and he's been asked to take up the mantle, and what his day-to-day life is like, life with his family, life being a Black hero. And then we see where the Winter Soldier is with what his life is like now too, trying to deal with PTSD and stuff.
My first thought, and this thought is a little controversial, is there ever a time where you're like, this is too black or too black in the wrong way? Is that a weird thing to say? Like, let me explain myself. So I think specifically, I'm wondering how we should approach it. Okay, I think specifically, I'm thinking about the money issues. Like, I have a question for you. Are the money issues a normal theme for a superhero show, movie, anything?
No, they don't. They don't talk about it, but frequently, and usually it's because either superheroes we see are rich as hell, like Batman and Iron Man, so money is no issue, or they just focus on the hero saving the world. They're not focusing on that aspect of their normal life.
Yeah, like I've just never seen a superhero movie where the focus is on their money issues, and that kind of bothered me.
Did it? So why did it bother you?
I think it bothered me because it's like the first like Marvel character, Black Marvel character, this one that you're like paying attention to for a series, other than, let's not think about Black Panther. And his storyline is, we struggling, we ain't got money. We can't even get a loan at the bank. We selling fish plates. Like, they don't even like explore, like in the Winter Soldier storyline, you laugh, but in the Winter Soldier storyline, like, I ain't heard nothing about money for him. I just like, it was just such a like, it's like, wow. Not only does he just fly and he owns this expensive ass suit, now he can't even like, he ain't got no money. He broke with an expensive ass suit. What's the point of the suit? What's the point of the suit? He needs to cut that suit up and sell it. He needs to sell autographs. I can't. No, they're making fish plates. He can't even save his business, his family, but he doesn't know anyone. He doesn't know anyone but the local bank. He doesn't know anyone.
So, oh man, I love this because we always end up having two different reactions. But so the thing is, and it's so funny, I'll send you the article now after this, but I wanted to wait to send it to you to see what you were thinking, because there's actually an article I read on that specific subject, why they're like, we need to talk about the pay gap between the Avengers. And they talk about that because Winter Soldier lives in Brooklyn, in a borough of Brooklyn in New York, but they're saying, but Falcon lives out in, apparently, I guess he's in Jersey or something, and like has to go to the bank for a loan for his sister to help her with this business. And he's talking about how they have they work off like, the goodwill of people that like to donate money and stuff like that, which sounds like realistically what I kind of expect. Because if the government paid them, then they'd be at the behest of the government, subject to government, a lot of government rules. Government contractors aren't necessarily, but there's a gray area. And they kind of went over that in Civil War, which you haven't seen. But they talk about that because like characters like Captain America, apparently in his first movie, or maybe it was Winter Soldier, he mentions not being able to find a place in New York, which is where he's from, right? So he doesn't make any money either, but eventually he does. And like anyway, they talk about the pay gap between all these heroes and how fucking Falcon is like sitting over here struggling, and Winter Soldier's like got a fucking apartment in Brooklyn and stuff, which is obviously gentrified as fuck and hipsterized now. But I liked it because I thought it showed realistically what like the struggles of we all know the pay gap between white males and everybody else, right? And no matter what industry, but I thought it showed practically what those struggles would likely look like for a Black hero who does not like, only has certain stuff on his resume, right? And we know regular soldiers have a hard time sometimes coming back from war and finding jobs, right? A lot of places are like, oh, we hire vets and stuff like that, but sometimes they're not the best jobs. They're not jobs that pay the most money. And so in this case, it struck me as pretty realistic. I thought, especially because you haven't seen Infinity War and Endgame, right?
Oh, maybe. I don't know the titles of the movies I saw.
They're the last two Avengers ones, the big Avengers ones.
I saw those. Yep. I saw all of the first one, 3/4 in pieces, maybe the whole of the second one.
Okay. So if you saw the beginning of the second one, that's where the blip is, right? Because the first one ends, he snaps his fingers, everybody gets blitzed, where they kept talking about in this. Right. So that's that 5-year gap where all these people disappeared and now they're coming back and trying to fit back into reality. And that's also what this episode's about. And I've been watching The Leftovers lately, actually, which is, HBO show.
Okay. Talk about don't talk about it. We're talking about this, but yeah.
That's kind of similar themes where people disappear. So it's like, what do you do with credit and with pay and all that stuff? So they touched on that a bit with The Leftovers too, but this is the same thing. He not only is he Black, but he's Black and coming back after 5-year fucking credit gap. And we all know how they treat you if you have no insurance, if you drop insurance and don't get a new insurance, right? Your fucking rates go up. If you get if you have a gap in your your work history, the longer it goes, the harder it is to get work and shit. Like, you know how that is. So add being, Black on top of that, and it's going to be amplified. And so I think that they did a good job of showcasing that. And, the sister wants to do things her own, like, pride, we all know pride with a lot of that stuff.
Well, I don't think for her it was pride. I think for her, she had been taking care of everything herself. And like Anthony, who carries a lot of that Captain America, I know the answer, I know the fix, I can get it done, I can do it. He literally went into that bank thinking that his white allegiance by being Falcon was going to give him that thing, and it did not.
Under the old terms, sure, but these days, with everyone just showing up, well, things tighten up.
So maybe he felt the depths of his separation from the other superheroes finally, even though we can tell from his powers. I think the reason, like, I think that's a really good point. I think you're right. Like, it is very much so based in the truth of like what it would be like for that Black superhero in the world that we live in. And like what actually, like, I think you're right. It's based on a lot of truth. I think my problem is that he already doesn't have much going for him. And then it's like, now it's like, whoa, he really ain't got much going for him. And that was the problem. It's just like one of those, like, this isn't a piece that you're going to watch that, like, for instance, like the reason why Black Panther was so powerful is that they were winning. They had I don't know if the right word is agency, but they had like something to like bring to the table. And I felt like, for me, anytime I'm encountering him as a character in his life, I always feel deficient. Like, I feel like something's like missing. Either it's his wanting to be like, Captain America, like the white man, the captain for all, that he looked up to, right? That he doesn't even take up the mantle because he's on some like self-righteous, like that was him. That's not me. I can't do it. You need to do something. And honestly, I think probably what's going to be the storyline of the series is him coming and being like, I am Captain America. I represent America. That's what they need to do. But we'll get to what predictions and stuff like that. But him going into the shoes of like what it means to be Captain America. I just think for me, I don't know. I just want to see the fun of like the superheroes, and I want that for him. I want him to win, and I guess he'll win as he goes, but it just kind of bothered me. It's like, oh, and he ain't got no money. Like
you sound like he's just a scrub. Like
he is a scrub. He's a scrub. He went to the, you know how embarrassing that is?
No, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing, but trust me. And
we bank and was like, I don't want to say it, but yeah, I'm Falcon.
Yeah. I mean, do I know you from somewhere?
I don't know. Do you?
I do, but where?
Come on.
I knew it, Falcon. Yeah. Yes, man. Oh,
I didn't want to say anything, you know.
I always wanted to be an Avenger.
Oh, man. It's a dream come true, you know.
You want a picture? Yeah. And then got rejected.
He did, and that sucks. But you know what it is? So it's not like he's not working, right? He is working. They open up on a scene where he gets a new job, like a new gig, or like, hey, assignment, right? So he's getting paid for that shit. And hopefully you should be getting fucking paid enough to like risking your life and shit like that. He should be getting paid enough where he can write a check on his own.
Yeah.
But clearly he ain't.
That's completely right. It's like you would think he had enough money, like for risking like his life.
But we see that's that one. I mean, we know in real life, the government pays shit compared to like private contractors and stuff. Look at people in Iraq and Afghanistan, right? The private contractors are the ones making all the money. The military soldiers are the ones making like maybe $100K a year, maybe, right?
Anthony ain't making $100K. He can't even handle his boat business. How much you think it would take to handle that boat business?
I'm assuming, did they mention in the episode? I'd assume it couldn't be more than 40 grand, 40 or 60 from what it looked like they're trying to do.
You only think it's like 40,000?
For the boat to get the boat repaired, right?
Right, and the boat repaired, to pay off the loans.
Now, I forgot they had a loan, so it might be more, maybe 100. But either way, all the shit he did, he should have cut the check, right? Like he says behind the scenes. But so we see, obviously, there's a massive pay gap there, like in terms of what he actually makes. I think what the thing is the theme of this episode, I think, is humility and finding one's place. And I think what?
It makes me mad. Like, why does he have to have humility and find his place?
Well, I'll tell you now, it's the showrunner is a black man, Malcolm Spellman. He is a black man. He said he made sure the room was filled with POC so they could really get in there and tell those stories that they want to tell and show the reality of it. So what I think with this specifically, they want to show he doesn't like, if you saw the end of Avengers Endgame, Captain America gives him the shield and says, this is yours now. He's like, no, I can't take. That's what that flashback audio was, the voiceover at the beginning. That was audio from the end of Avengers Endgame, where Captain America's like, this is yours now. It's no longer mine. And he's like, no, I can't take it, you know, because Captain America is such a big legacy to live up to, just like Tony Stark's is, right? If you watch the Spider-Man ones, because Tony Stark dies in Avengers Endgame too, and so Spider-Man's supposed to take up his legacy. He's like, I can't take up Tony Stark's legacy. So what they're doing, it's multifold, but on one hand, it's all the original Avengers who have built this big legacy are handing over the throne to the new Avengers, the new guys, and none of the new guys think they can take up the mantle and keep up with the legacy of the original ones because they're the OGs, right? They're all, for the most part, humble. But on the other hand, it's also a matter of, like you said, he's trying to, he's not Captain America. And he says, I'm not Captain America. I can't do this. So he decides to try to be humble and do the right thing because him and Captain America share that same thing, and that humility and like, I put other people first above myself type of thing. And so I saw you purse your lips. So, like, in terms of not that I'm not saying that they don't think what they're doing and saying is right. Like, they don't think their way is the right way.
No, they
but
do.
Exactly. I'm not saying they don't think that, but I'm saying what they do try to do is sacrifice themselves over the other folks. So I think with his specifically, what he's doing in this episode is trying to say, I'm not Captain America. I got to figure out what my place is, but I know I'm not good enough to be Captain America. I'm not him. So I'm going to give you guys a shield as part of the memoriam. And I'm going to do my thing, like I'm me and I'm doing my thing, but he's still getting knocked down a couple pegs, I think. So my assumption is the next couple episodes is when you're going to see him actually get knocked all the way down and then come back up, stand up and be like, I'm my own fucking man. I can do this, and like really take off with it. You see, they had him fight the same French guy that was on Captain America, right? At the beginning of the plane. That's the same French dude.
I don't remember the French guy.
You remember the one in Winter Soldier that was like knocking Captain America on his ass? So we were saying, like, how the fuck this normal ass French dude, he's actually an MMA fighter, but
okay, they brought him back.
Yeah, he's the one that was in the plane that was in the squirrel suit that kept jumping around from chopper to chopper and shit with the guy.
Yeah, that guy's really good at what he does. Okay, so I will say the opening, he fought stronger.
Yeah.
He definitely fought stronger. I still think the flying's a little weak.
I thought some of the flying tricks were dope. They had him murking people. Like, I was like, wow.
He was getting it. It's just, I mean, I wouldn't choose flying as like my skill set. I always just feel so secondhand with him. I feel like it's like we're trying to make it cool. And like, I think him being a better fighter will make it better. Like if he's like stronger at fighting, and he was getting it. I just need to see more. Yeah. I need to see more. I'm getting an imposter syndrome from him. Like he's not good enough to take up the mantle. And he's right. He's not. But, I'm sorry. He's right. But I get the realistic. I think that's, I do think everything was definitely very realistic. It just for me, the money issue thing just like bothered me that was like his storyline. Like, I think I would have liked it more if like money wasn't the issue, but his sister maybe not wanting him to help. I would have liked more the focus to be around like the family tension and maybe the adjusting to life 5 years after and the trauma that has had on him being away. Like, I think there's other things that they could have focused on that would have, for me, been better, but like better in the sense of, I just feel like that's just the easy thing to do is be like, well, he ain't got no money. He can't get no loan and all this and in the pay. It's wearing, it like wears on me. Like I want him, I mean, maybe it's a little bit of a fantasy, but it's like I want him to like win in life a little bit more. Like, not everyone who's Black is like, I don't know. I just felt,
yeah.
I just want more. Like I want more personality from him. I think still, I'm just not getting it. I'm just not.
You're gonna be tough to win over for them. I see that. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you on everything. I think they're consciously trying to show his personality. And I did read in articles that they were really happy. Both the Marvel executives and the writers are really happy that they get a chance to showcase what his life is like as a Black superhero that's not from Wakanda, that's like, in America living his life, trying to do his thing. So that's not, again, Rich, like a normal ass Black dude. That's what he is, right? He's just trying to be larger than life so he can help save the world. And I think that.
But he's not a normal ass Black dude. That's the thing. Like, he is not a normal ass Black dude. He is Falcon. He's part of the Avengers. They
Uh-huh.
made how many movies? 30,000? 20? How many? Do you know the number off your head? Go. How many?
It's like 12.
12. This nigga is a part of 12 movie franchise. They fought Thanos. He's friends with people from other planets. And then they bring him back and he's selling fish plates, which isn't going to make them enough money. It's just not. When you're in debt, $10 a plate is not going to make it. Also, they didn't put those plates in warmers, so I don't even know how the food is even warm anymore. That's just a side note. You know what I'm saying? Did you notice that? Like,
I saw that.
Fish plates you left in the trunk of your car. And you went in the bank.
Maybe
now,
maybe they had one of those pizza bags.
No, they weren't in pizza bags. If I remember correctly, they opened up the back of the trunk and they were just stacked up. That's just, maybe I'm wrong. That's the thing. That's a no. I'll go back and look. But yeah, I just think that, I don't know. I just feel like this character like is already kind of humbled in how he's been approached in the films. And it was like, I want more. I think what would make him more personality for me is to like get more of his opinions and not always seeing him as Mr. Fix-It, Mr. doing the right thing, because that is Captain America's Stitch, right? It's always Mr. Fix-It, Mr. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what I want to see from Anthony is we talked about the PTSD. I want to see Anthony struggling with PTSD. I want to see, well, I guess they can't because Winter Soldier is struggling with PTSD currently.
No, I assume they're soldiers, and it's definitely a common occurrence amongst the military. So I assume they'll probably show them both doing it in different ways.
You assume that, but they've been disappointing me.
We'll see. Well, it's the first episode. We'll see.
It's the first episode. You need to get me from the beginning. You need to get me.
I agree. I think that he is already humble, but I think the series is going to give them, it's more than an hour and a half or 2 hour movie. So I think the series is going to give them an opportunity to actually show him coming into his own and realizing who he is. Because to me, he is still a normal ass dude that's just specially trained. And just like Black Widow, right? You could say she's a regular person with no powers, but she's been trained as like an assassin since she was a child, right? Because you'd be like, how the fuck she ain't gonna be able to take on Thanos, but she can help with weapons and all this shit and like help the really powerful people like Thor and fucking Captain America actually do stuff. And it's kind of the same for him. He's a dude that isn't trained as an assassin. He's trained as like a specialty soldier. And when he's not fighting, he's going to be, what's his normal life like? And this is it. Normal life as a, Black soldier in America, when you're out of your BDUs and you're walking around the street and stuff, you're going to be doing, you're going to be going through this shit. And clearly he's not making the same money. So he's at the bank trying to get a loan. Now it's funny because they show him still trying to be confident and kind of cocky, but he gets knocked down at the bank, right? Him and his sister argue. She punches him. He's like, ow, I forgot how hard you hit. Like he gets knocked and still get knocked back from his sister. Like reality is still hitting him. And I think the very end of the episode, when they show the new Cap, that's when reality really hits him. And I think this is where we're going to see him start making decisions to say, like, look, I'm fucking here. You need to listen to me. Because they are showing him they're trying to make him cool. Like he speaks Arabic, right? Which is dope.
That was really dope. I will say that was really cool.
He fixes his own technology, his own gadgets. So he's smart enough to fix that shit. He doesn't need Iron Man to come to the rescue with that shit. And they show him murking people and stuff at the plane, like literally knocking people into cliffs and shit like that. So they make it clear that like he's capable. They just haven't made it clear yet that he's the one, right? All these other movies, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow hasn't come out yet, but each one of the Guardians of the Galaxy, like that's a group, but each one of their individual movies, they make it clear that within their movie, their individual world, they're the one person that can get the job done, right? And this one, they haven't made it clear that he's the one yet because they've got to show like what it's like. He's basically a second tier hero. He's not a first tier hero. He's the B squad. He's not A squad, right? I think this is going to be them showing him transitioning from B to A once he realizes he can be that dude because he is capable. He just hasn't crossed that threshold yet, which means you're going to have to be knocked down and then be rebuilt back up stronger and better, right?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was saying I think would have been also maybe interesting if they had really leaned in to the fact that he's on the B team. Like if that was like a layer of it, like when he was at the bank with the guy, he's like, yeah, but what was Captain America like?
Yeah,
I think he kind of asked, but like if they really lean into the fact that like he's overlooked as like a superhero, I think that would have been a nice like added element to like observe what's the like the story or the narrative around him as a character. Even it would have been nice for him to like recognize. It would have been nice if he like had recognized, like, you know, I know I'm not Captain America, like I'm not the this, I'm not the this or whatever, or thinking these things about himself, like to actually see his self-doubt, right? To see the reason why he has the imposter syndrome is because he doesn't think he's good enough as a superhero, instead of it being like, you know, just an admiration. You know, if they have put like some meat behind the thoughts. I think for me, I want to see him go deeper within himself and have like internal struggles connected to like real life thinking, like when it comes to self-image and stuff like that, instead of like him getting knocked down, like just being like this cocky ass dude who's like getting knocked down, but like also being cocky, like because the fact that his character is kind of second rate, it's like him being cocky for like no reason. Like I know in like the world, like I don't fly wings, like he should be cocky because of that. But like in this superhero world, like, sir, you have no reason to be cocky. Like you're the lame superhero.
If he hit on you, you would definitely have been putting him in his fucking place.
Wait, if Falcon hit on me, I wouldn't like him. I wouldn't like him because he's so like, he just thinks he's like, he has all the like, I don't like that. I don't like people who don't have any like self. Wow, this conversation changes to something else, but I just like I just need some humility, and not even like a self. I just need a real human, and I'm missing that from him. I'm missing the human, and what you get actually is from Winter Soldier. You get his human, right?
Well, it's interesting because to me, those scenes like where he's at the museum and stuff, to me, that's what shows that humility aspect of him, where he's like, I'm not Captain America. This is the shield. What we need is heroes, blah, blah, blah.
But what is so different from him then than him in the movies when he was admired him so much? Like to me, I feel like it's still just on the same wavelength of like admiring this guy instead of like his own carved out like emotional stance on like him as a superhero and where he belongs. Like everything for him, I know he becomes the new Captain America and that's why they're in relation, but I just need some separation.
That's I agree. It's still the same him from the movies. This is where I think they're going to show that growth, because they can now show like why he's going to have to come into his own. And that brings me to like that scene where he's handing over the shield at the memorial museum thing, and he makes it like very clear. He says like, we need new heroes, one suited for the times we're in. And he has that whole speech where he's saying all that, and he says symbols are nothing without the men and women who give them meaning. And they cut to James Rhodey, which is Don Cheadle's character, and he is basically Iron Man's like best friend and kind of sidekick. He gets, in the comic books and the movies, he gets like his own Iron Man armor and all this shit, but it's black and it's called War Machine and all this. It's not as cool as Iron Man shit, but it's almost there. So he's basically like the second tier Iron Man, because this is how they did this in the comics, right? Most of the heroes are all white. Then they're like, we'll throw in some minorities, and they'll be like the sidekicks to the heroes, and then eventually they'll get their own shit, right? And so they do that with the movies, right? The heroes are all white, and the minorities are coming up, but they're like B squad. They're not A squad. And so it's interesting because that scene when he says we need new heroes, ones that are suited for the times we're in, I think that's also Marvel's way of saying like, this is 2021. We need heroes that are more diverse and more and not just like the same faces we always see. And this, I think that's like their way of saying this is what we're doing now. Like we're bringing these new heroes to the front instead of keeping them behind in the back, because this again, it's a new generation, and we need those heroes for the time, literally that we're in 2021, but also metaphorically, like in the movies, because they're passing the torch. And so I think it's a very clear reference to comic books and like popular culture, especially today. Popular culture, comic books, heroes, movies, all that has very much been dominated by like cis hetero white men and women. And now we've got like the new
one woman
woman, and we've got like Muslim heroes now, gay heroes, POC heroes, like and so I think that was a very clear way of Marvel saying like these are the new heroes for the current time. Like we understand this is what we're doing, and it's interesting because those are both of him and Rhodey are the first two Black heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they both also lost their best friend and mentor at the end of the Avengers movies. So it's also kind of a passing of the torch moment that doubles down on that. So like these old heroes, white heroes, these traditional heroes are being passing the torch to these diverse, colorful heroes.
He gives me Trump supporter.
You think so? Nah, yeah. I don't see.
He gives me black man Trump supporter.
He doesn't give me the Candace Owens vibes. He doesn't.
No, I'm not talking about Candace. It ain't got to be Candace Owens. He gives me black man Trump supporter vibes.
I think he's like those. What are those twins on YouTube?
Yeah, just got another email.
Huh?
Those light-skinned twins on YouTube?
No, I don't even think you gotta look that far. I think you can just literally, no offense, as a black man, I think you can go to Circle of Black Men and have a conversation. And I have noticed after this election season, a lot more Black men who very much so came out, in support of Trump. He gives me that vibe. He gives me that vibe. Because here's the thing too, is that does he have, like, would you say that him as a character has paid attention to his Blackness, like has recognized his Blackness, or is the world around him recognizing his Blackness? Because his sister makes a comment about it when they're at the bank, a comment of like, well, it seems like around us, like things always get tight, but I don't think I ever have encountered like a moment that I've seen from him. I haven't seen everything you have. Is there ever a time where he recognizes his Blackness and more than just suggesting a CD that has someone Black in it?
From what they've shown with him, I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while since I watched Civil War, because that's, I think, the only other movie we haven't really talked about that he's in prominently. But I don't remember that being the case off the top of my head. I think that's what they're gonna do with this, though. I don't get the vibes, because like I think he's one of those people that tries to be more keep the peace as opposed to being more direct with shit. Like you see at the bank, the guy is such like, oh, here we go. I knew this was coming. Like, oh, it's because we're, Black, whatever. And he's like, no. He's like trying to calm her down and shit. I see him as a character that knows it, because I think just the way he talks, like the way he was talking to the Hispanic dude that he's working with in wherever they were at the end of the mission, that military dude that ended up getting chasing down the terrorists and getting beat up. Mm-hmm. The way he was talking with him, like he talks pretty street, right? Like he talks relative, like he'll throw his cadence and shit. Like he talks straightforward, but I think his cadence, he still has a little of that street kind of attitude. And look at your face. Look at your face. No, I'm serious. Like I noticed some of the stuff, they let him talk like what's up? Like they would still let him talk like a brother. Like I don't think that's, I think for him, he's too he's just much more of a like, let's keep the peace middle ground kind of dude. But I think given what we've seen from his family, like you see the way he was talking, like you see the way he was talking to his uncle and his sister and all that. Like I don't think with a family like that and with the way he interacts with them, I don't think he'd be the Trump line. I think he would probably be the type of person that doesn't want to have political discussions, but I don't think he would be that type of. I don't think he'd be like that.
He totally wants to have political discussions.
Because
tell you why his opinion's right and why you should listen. No, we need to have a. I would love. I just don't. I see what you're saying. He wants to talk about finances and how great of a businessman Trump was, and you know how he didn't agree with everything he said about everyone, but like when it comes to business, like he knows what he's talking about, and you got to just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And that man in that bank, he wasn't talking down to us because we were black. It's just things happen, but we're gonna press through and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Bucky, he sound like, I feel like Bucky would be like, yo, I feel like Bucky would say something about race, and like Anthony be like, no, my race doesn't hold me. No one sees that. I am just like everyone else. I am colorblind. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just being too hard on. I'm very interested to see how it moves forward. For you, what would you like to see moving forward?
I'd like to see them giving him, I like to see them forcing him to come to terms with his place in the world and the Marvel universe, and him being able to step up and like take a leadership role. Like Captain America or not, I'm the fucking man that's here. Like, get used to it. And this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think something that you were pointing out and talking about is you were talking about, you pointed to story structure, right? Like we're coming into the world and we're meeting him going lower, lower, and lower. So I'm curious what his lowest point's going to be, because I don't think we're there yet. I think that them taking, I can't believe the disrespect. I can't believe they took the shield that he donated. It's mad disrespectful.
And they got this chubby face, like wannabe Captain America with this mask don't fit and everything else.
You know who that guy is?
No, I haven't looked him up. I've seen stuff. They're like, oh, he's on such and such.
You know who I think he's going to be the guy that stole the money. Remember the guy who stole the money and kicked the guy in the face? Remember when they had the mask on? I think that's him. That's my.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. So I didn't think about that actually. Yeah, that guy had long hair though. I mean, he could always shave it and shit, but it could be a wig, whatever. That would be interesting. I know in the comic books that character is supposed to be a U.S. agent is his name, and he's basically like a bad guy, a Hydra agent, like a bad guy masquerading as a good guy, and then he does become. But he's kind of like Winter Soldier, like he's bad pretending to be good. Like he becomes like the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. Like he's bad pretending to be good, and then he takes over for Captain America. Comic books take all over the place. But I'm looking at him as a bad guy right now, because for the most part, he's supposed to be like, he is like the one that's like very clear, like Trump supporter. He's the one that is like America first, only America. Anything that's different than like the good old American ideal is like bad. So his character in the comic books is much more like fucking asshole, racist, all this shit. And so, but they said they had to soften some of that stuff for the show, but the DNA is still there. So I think it's going to come down between him and Falcon and Winter Soldier having to duke it out.
I think it's kind of a miss for them to have softened it down.
I mean, I think it would have been a great opportunity for them to show what America really is and what we've seen, especially repeatedly this past year in 2020. I think it would have been a great opportunity for them to clearly make that, and maybe they will. Because I did read that he was that they were saying that they were really prescient, like the writing team was on top of it. They ended up writing COVID into the show. They wrote it, they made it the show before COVID started, and they had to suspend production and finish it. But there's a lot of stuff he said in here that's very current with the times. And so I'm hoping they make it clear that he's like the bad part of America, but what some people think is the real America. I think that's what he's going to end up being. And it's going to come down to who Mr. Wannabe Real America versus like the black guy and the ex-killer who's like trying to rehabilitate himself,
We're going to find out what is the real America.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it develops. Yeah, did you have anything else that stood out that you wanted to speak about?
Uh, no, I like I like the rather going with Winter Soldier 2, giving him this make amends for shit. Like you said, they're humbling him, but it's his fucking therapist that's humbling him. She's keeping him in place, like really keeping him in place. So I like it when they give him like an old person buddy to kind of to bounce off of and shit.
I like that too. I like the tie-in that he is the guy that murdered, which I should have saw that coming from the beginning, but I didn't. And
I actually didn't like that part. I was like, oh, that's corny. I was like, come on, like all the people in the fucking world, this is the guy that he's happens to be budding up with. But I realized now, so I didn't like that part, but I'm thinking that it may be that's the reason he buddied up to that guy, was so he could finally make amends to him, because that guy is on his little amends book.
yeah, isn't that what we just said?
Well, towards the end, I mean, they kind of pointed at that. I don't think they made that perfectly clear that that's why, though.
Oh, like, I thought that was clear to me. The reason why he was with him was because of that, because he brought out the notebook and the last names, and then you see the pitch. I thought, to me, I thought it was clear that was the reason why he was like hanging around him.
That he's in the first place, yeah. I mean, they first show him, he doesn't see that, and then you see the book and everything. But I think they have to make it a little bit clear to me, because it still looks, yeah. But it's good. I like their relationship. So we'll see how that fleshes out. Apparently, this is going to end up, Winter Soldier and Falcon's relationship is going to be very much like a Rush Hour relationship, too.
Oh my God.
So I don't know how much Rush Hour.
Anthony going to be
cracking jokes.
Yeah, like Chris Tucker. Yeah, who's Chris Tucker and who's Jackie Chan?
Well, Winter Soldier is obviously the more serious one, right? He doesn't know how to.
So Anthony is gonna be Jackie Chan?
No, Anthony's gonna be Chris Tucker. Jackie Chan is the serious one in Rush Hour, right? The one that doesn't ever.
They're both pretty goofy.
I don't know. I think Chris is always the one. You didn't. This is my guy. Yeah, the Red Dragon. You didn't know, like.
No, you're right. Chris is definitely the more goofy, but Jackie's goofy too. Like he still does his funny and his fighting, and he.
Yeah, he makes some jokes for sure.
Yeah.
What do you want to see out of this?
I want to see him. I want to see him acknowledge his blackness. Mm-hmm. I want to see him struggle with more than just money. I want to see him struggle with his, identity separate from Captain America, more so as a result of his own internal issues about who he is. If we're going to do like him not being good enough, I don't want it to be something that started with Captain America. I just would love to see him recognize or them acknowledge his blackness more and how he speaks about it, not so much about how the world speaks about it. Because I think that, things can be occurring to you, but you not acknowledging them or acknowledging potentially the history or the thoughts behind them. Not everyone is self-aware of even how it's affecting their world, right? Not in a way that's meant to crippleize you, but in a way that's aware of yourself, your surroundings, and your perception to potentially people. I think I would like more self-awareness from him. Yeah, like, and I would like him to be like, I hear what you're saying. I like him to listen to other people more too. Like, I don't think he listens. I think he gives out advice to his sister and just refutes. But I don't see the empathy enough.
I would agree with that. And I hope and I assume that's probably going to end up happening, because the relationship between his relationship with the Winter Soldier and his relationship with his sister and his family, I think there's going to be something that forces him to just stop and listen. And that's probably going to be what forces him to also stand up and take that leadership role too. I bet they're going to be related, and it's probably going to have to do with somebody in his family being threatened.
I don't want him though getting yelled at like Samuel. Like, I don't want him humbled like that.
Can salvage what's
We're not salvaging anything. We're not just taking down the carriers, Nick. We're taking down S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D. had nothing to do with it.
You gave me this mission. This is how it ends. Shield's been compromised. You said so yourself. Hydra grew right under your nose and nobody noticed.
Why do you think we're meeting in this cave? I noticed.
How many paid the price before you did?
I want you to be self-reflective, humbling. I don't want them yelling at Samuel in a dark room vibes. Don't want it.
I see that. I don't know what they're gonna do. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not that. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, me too. It's only one episode in, so
we'll see where it goes. With that said, as always, find us where podcasts are found. We're on the YouTube, the IG, all of them good things. Please watch, share, rate, review, do all the things people need to do.
Right.
Kind of rhymes. Boopity doo.
Boopity doo. Woo woo.
I thought you were really gonna break down bars. I was like,
I thought about it, but then I thought about that meme that everybody can pass around again with Homeboy from Real World. Come on, be my baby tonight.
yes.
Woo woo is his thing. He used to say woo woo all the fucking time. Ended up having me and my homeboy say that shit. So that just rolled out there in my head.
Oh my gosh. On that note, see you guys next time.
Peace.